Amen. Come on, give God a hand praise in here. Come on, you can do it. Give God a hand praise in here. Ain't God good? Ain't God good? We're excited about this moment that God have allowed us to be in. We know we've had some pretty bad news, and we done went through some, putting my auntie in the ground and dealing with that situation. And but I thank God that God is blessing us still by encouraging our hearts. Because I was talking to a gentleman on just Friday. I was finishing out my week, and he asked me, he said, "How you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm doing great." And he said, "Ain't it good to be alive up on the ground walking and rather than under the ground?" I said, "Oh, yeah, it's always a blessing to be that way. It's always a blessing for that." He said, "You know what? I found out that the new wealth in life is not money. The new wealth in life is health." He said, "You can have $1 million, and the doctor will take every penny of that if you got an illness that's going to be uncurable and try to give you hope. He'll take all your money to get you hope." All I can think about is the woman with the issue of blood, how she spent everything she had going to the doctors trying to get comfort and get a peace of mind to get rid of her issue. But it never happened, but they took all her money. But I thank God that God is blessing. We're going to deal with some things this morning. We're going to the book of Ecclesiastes. That's where we're going to plant our feet. And we're going to the 6th chapter, beginning at the 1st through the 12th verse. And I'm going to do something a little different. I want my wife to read for me. And I want her to, get you a microphone so you can be heard. And everything. No, that one, yeah. We thank God for her. She's going to help me through this reading. I want to talk a little bit about Ecclesiastes before we jump into it, because it's not a book that everybody run to learn anything about God. It's not a book everybody run to get an information or answer from God. But in this book, it would not be in here if God didn't have something that he wanted us to get from it. The Bible is never shy about confronting painful truths in our lives. It answers our hard questions that we may have in our life. The Bible has a way of directly coming to us with the perfect answer without diluting or answering our life questions without diluting and giving us a sugar-coated version. The Bible will give us a straight jolt right to the gut to let you know what God's view is on it. In Ecclesiastes, the book of Ecclesiastes faces the issues on how we can find meaning in our life and in the process of living. Ecclesiastes deal with that, and that's what we want to deal with. We're going to the book, the chapter 6 of Ecclesiastes, beginning at the 1st verse, and we're going to stand this morning for the reading, and we want to read all 12 verses, and then we're going to get into it. And it reads,
"There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is common among men. A man to whom God hath given riches, wealth, and honor, so that he wanteth nothing for his soul of all that he desireth. Yet God giveth him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. This is vanity, and it is an evil disease. If a man beget 100 children and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul be not filled with good, and also that he have no burial, I say that an untimely birth is better than he. For he cometh in with vanity, and departeth in darkness, and his name shall be covered with darkness. Moreover, he hath not seen the sun, nor known anything. This hath more rest than the other. Yea, though he live 1,000 years, twice told, yet hath he seen no good. Do not all go to one place? All the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not filled. For what hath the wise more than the fool? What hath the poor that know to walk before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the desire. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. That which hath been is named already, and it is known that it is man. Neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. Seeing there be many things that increase vanity, what is man the better? For who knoweth what is good for man in this life, all the days of his vain life, which he spendeth as a shadow? For who can tell a man what shall be after him under the sun?
Let's thank God for the reading. You can have your places. I want to deal with some things because remember I said in the beginning of this that the Bible has a way of hitting us in the gut with the truth. And the Bible has a way of telling us what God's view is on a lot of things. And a lot of times, we as saints of God, we tend to always want. We tend to always desire more and more things to satisfy our flesh. And that's not a sin to want to have good things, to want to have a good life, to want to experience what pleasure is in life. It's okay, but you got to put it in perspective. And we want to give our thought, align your desires with your seasons. And I came up with this thought because just this week, I was talking with my wife, and I was trying to figure out what I want to eat. And we was coming up with all of these things to eat. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go to the grocery store. And I'm going to get something I hadn't had in a long time. I'm going to get me a pot pie. And a pot pie is, and I know most of us know what it is, but it's filled with vegetables, and it's got this chicken flavored cream all over the vegetables, and it's got chicken in it or turkey in it or beef or whatever you put in it, and it's got a crust under the bottom and up the sides and over the top. And man, when you cut into it, it's delicious when the crust is just brown, just right, and man, it's tasty, and you put a little salt and pepper on it. Man, you can really get into it. It's like having all your food just mixed up in a bowl and you just eating it. And I said, man, I'm going to get a pot pie. And I said, all of a sudden, my taste buds said, we also want watermelon. I know that. I said, oh, my Lord. I said, taste buds want watermelon with a pot pie. He said, yeah, I want watermelon for dessert after you eat the pot pie. You know, me and my taste buds is having this conversation, and I said, okay, I'll get it. The hand said, I go look for it. The eye said, I'll see it. When the hand said, I'll pick it up, and we're going to take it home. And I got the watermelon, and I was excited, and my brain was like sending signals, said, you finna have you a good dinner. I cooked the pot pie while it was cooking. While it was simmering in the oven and getting ready, I thought I'd get a slice of that watermelon. And when I got the slice of watermelon, I bit into the watermelon, and my wife said, is it sweet? I said, no, it's not sweet. It was bitter. I said, it's exactly like I thought it was going to be. It's not delicious like I wanted it to be, but it ended up being, because it was out of season. The watermelon was not in season, but for some reason I craved it and I desired it, but it wasn't wrong that I desired it. But what my thought this morning is aligning is meaning that you can desire a lot of things, but if it's not in alignment with the season that is going on in your life, it's not going to benefit you the way you want it to. We saw here in my story of me getting the watermelon, I enjoyed the watermelon for as it was watermelon, but I didn't enjoy the taste of the watermelon, and it didn't have the flavor that I wanted it to have. It didn't have the sweetness, but it was out of term. See, sometimes you can get your desires, and your desires are out of term or out of season for what God has for your life. And out of season desire is no good for nobody. We see here in this reading, this writer opened up, and in Ecclesiastes was giving credit to Solomon, David's son. And Ecclesiastes is giving credit that this is the preacher preaching. And I was looking at that and I said, wow, I guess Solomon would be the preacher. Because Solomon was given credit to, he wrote this book and he wrote these words and he put this in perspective. And we knew that Solomon was a wise man, had wisdom, and he had an understanding that God said nobody would surpass him. But Solomon looked and Solomon said, I noticed something. He said, there is an evil which I have seen under the sun. He said, I looked out into this world and I seen an evil that shouldn't be existing. And that evil is that a man would have a life and would live a full life and would have plenty but would have no joy. It's a sin not to have no joy. Sometimes you got to enjoy life, but you got to put perspective on it. You got to do it in its season. You got to do things in the way that God would have you. You can't just do things just because. You got to do things not just because you desire, because when you desire, it may not be the season. You got to wait on it. See, I got my first taste of watermelon this year, and it was out of season, and it didn't taste good. And I've been known to pick good watermelons. Man, my watermelons, every time I get it, my wife get the first slice. Even in this instant, and with me getting that watermelon out of season, she didn't even get the first bite. She normally get the very first bite of the watermelon that I get. I would not even taste it until after she tasted. She would tell me, oh, this is delicious. Then I would take a taste. But for some reason, Friday, I took the first bite of the watermelon. She looking to see if it was going to be sweet, and it wasn't. I said, I did so much. I had a desire. Wasn't nothing wrong with the desire, but the desire wasn't in alignment. The desire wasn't in the time that watermelon peaked, and they now ready to be plucked. But somebody plucked this watermelon way out of season and cut it and got it ready. And I ate that watermelon, and I was like, man, my first taste of my desire for watermelon this year was disappointing. Now I got to compare that disappointment for the rest of the season when it comes, hoping that I don't get another bad watermelon. Solomon was opening up this verse. He said a person who has, I want to break it down, a person who has a lot. This first verse said, there is an evil which I have seen under the sun, which is common among men. Right here, a person who has money, but who derives no real joy from his privileges is a pitiful rich. See, remember I told you the Bible hits you in the gut. It doesn't make sense to be rich and you don't know what to do with it. It doesn't make sense to have plenty and you have no need of it. It doesn't make sense to have $1 million or $2 or $3 million, $20 million, $1 billion when you ain't got no plan to use it. See, when you get that kind of money, you need to have a plan for it. My baby daughter, she's big on budgets. Oh, she'll run a budget in a minute. She don't have no problem in pulling out her forms and start putting the numbers to the paper and start trying to get it to make sense and all of that. That's how she does her process. She does not go into a purchase not knowing that the purchase can be handled by her. A lot of times we go into the purchase because we got a desire, but the desire is out of season because you can't afford what it is you want. I remember a man bought him a Jaguar, and it was a beautiful car. And the Jaguar ran for a couple of years, and he enjoyed it. He enjoyed the accolades he got from it, how people was saying, man, that's a beautiful car. It was a pretty color car, and it was unique, and it had beautiful seats in it and all of that. And he was driving the car, and all of a sudden the car started to slow down on him. He didn't understand what was going on, and he said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this car to the shop, and I'm going to let them look at the car, and when they look at the car, they'll tell me what's wrong, and then I'm going to repair it. And I'm going to, I'm a man that drive a fancy car, so I'm going to take it to a fancy shop and let them look at it. When he took it to the fancy shop and the man started to tell him, you know, how many thousands of dollars it was going to take for him to fix the car, he said, oh, let me take it to another mechanic. See, he went to the high-price mechanic. High-price mechanic told him these big numbers. He thought he'll take it to a shade tree mechanic and let him look at it. The shade tree mechanic said, I can't do nothing for you because I don't work on those type of cars. You got to go to a dealer that deal with those type of cars. See, the engine, it has too many cylinders in it. It's got too much going on. It's more than I'm capable of handling. When he realized he couldn't fix the car, he got, now let the car go. See, he got it out of season because it wasn't his season to drive it. Because he thought just making a car payment was just enough. That means I can afford it. But to afford it means that whenever it had needs, you can fix it. Whenever it had wants, you can go and take care of it. Because what I'm trying to show you, if you don't align your season with your desires with your season, you're going to always be wasteful. And to be wasteful is what the scripture is telling us right now. It's an evil that God bless you and you don't know what to do with the blessings. How many of you are getting blessed and you don't even know what to do with the money God giving you or with the blessings God giving you? It's okay to be rich. It's okay to have a bunch. It's okay to have plenty. But what are you doing with what you got? Some people get an icebox full of food and can't even eat it. And the food starts to go bad. I say this because we was in Christmas just a little while ago. And my daughter saw my wife buy her some eggnog. And my wife liked eggnog. So my wife drank the eggnog. She got her some plant-based eggnog, and she enjoyed it. She said, baby, you want some? I said, nope, because I don't eat eggnog. Drink eggnog. I don't like it. I'm not going to even try it. And my daughter thought she'd go get this fancy bottle, and it was a pretty bottle, and she put it up there, and I said, whoa, that look good. What is that? She said, eggnog. I said, why you buy that? She said, oh, Mama like eggnog, don't you? I said, nope, I don't like eggnog. I said, do you like eggnog? She said, no, I never tried it. I said, why would you spend money on something you never tried? Even you could have just tasted her to see if you like it. You're going to go buy a brand new one? I looked in the icebox just today, and I said, hey, girl, you know that eggnog's still in there? She said, yeah, I'm scared to drink it. I said, why'd you get it then? Well, I got it because I thought you and Mama like it. I said, your Mama like it, but I don't like it. I said, but you got to drink that now because that's yours. It's going to go bad. You got to hurry up. She said, it won't go bad till you open it. So I got it out I got to show. I pulled it out. I said, look at this date on here. It said, you got to drink this by February 23rd, 2023, or it's no good. She said, I thought it didn't have an expiration till you open it. I thought I could just keep it until I felt like it. I said, no, you got this in the wrong time. Now it's out of season. Now you got to drink eggnog in January. That don't even go together. Eggnog's supposed to be drunk during Christmas time. Eggnog's supposed to be drunk during the holidays. Now you pass all the holidays, you're going to be drinking eggnog for Valentine. You going to enjoy that? I said, oh, you got to align your desires up with the season. What I found out in my process, in my life, that as the writer is going here, Ecclesiastes again wants us to see that because life is short, it should be enjoyed. Life spent hovering around work or eating away all that God has given you with anxiety, what is that word? Anxieties that you're so worried about holding on to what you got, but you don't enjoy nothing that God has blessed you with is a waste. And God said that's a wrong thing to be doing. I'm telling all y'all here at God's Commission Church, enjoy the blessings that God has blessed you with. Stop hovering over them and trying to save them for a rainy day. God knows rainy day is going to come. He got rainy day blessings. That's the season. He got those ready for you. But if you take the days of sunshine and pleasure and not cloudy time, and you wait and use those during rainy days, those blessings are not going to work during rainy days. But God's blessings prepared for you. But you got to enjoy your season while you're in it. Yeah, this is this is a good message for me because it's teaching me how to be a millionaire. Hey, I'm ready. I said, oh, okay, God, so if you give me $1 million, I got to know how to spend it. I heard Bishop Jakes tell a testimony, and I'm going on further. He said he started his record label, and when he started his record label, he started putting numbers together, and he went to a man to invest in him, and when he went to the man to invest in him, he asked for this small amount of money. And when he asked the man for the money, the man was ready to give him whatever he asked for. But see, Bishop Jakes wasn't in the season to handle a lot. He said, he gave the man the number, and the man said, oh. He said, I thought you really needed me. He said, yeah. He said, I need this money to start the record label. I need you to give this to me. And the man said, oh, no. I don't do little investments like that. You got to find somebody else to do that. Now, if you wanted millions of dollars, not $100,000, not $300,000, but if you want 10, 15, 20 million, then you come see me. But if you're not aligned with the 15, 20 million, you got to go find somebody that can handle the 2, 3, 400,000. See, what I'm trying to show you here is when you align, Bishop Jake said, I went back and I realigned myself so that when I went back, I could get the amount of money that I needed. What I'm trying to show you is that if you don't align your desires with your season, a desire out of season is nothing beneficial to anybody that's going to be enjoyed because it's not going to benefit you, nothing. The writer went on to let us know these verses describe typical measurements of prosperity. Wealth, honor, children. It talked about a man could have 100 children and it still don't benefit him if he don't enjoy the children at the season they came in. I'm glad I enjoy my girls. I'm going to be straight with you. When my wife told me she was pregnant, I was like, I'm just getting on my feet from the other 2 boys. I'm trying not to buy no more Pampers. I'm not trying to buy no more Similac. I'm not trying to get no more Inframeal and all of that. And I wasn't happy. I was dissatisfied, but I was like, man, I don't want another child right now. I'm trying to get on my feet. This is going to hold me back. I'm ready to drive me a Cadillac. I'm ready to drive a Mercedes. I'm ready to get a BMW. I'm ready to do all these things I had on my mind that I was thinking I'm going to get into. But God said, no, your season of birth, having children, is still here. You got to finish it. I was like, I'm through. I had 2 kids. 1 was going to be enough for me. I got 2, and they were boys. I said, oh, man, I'm happy. I'm set. I don't need nothing else. Then next thing I know, my wife said she was pregnant. I said, man, we finna have 3. And God let me know. He said, hey, you know what? You're not going to finish your season. You're going to try to stop it. Because I had already made up my mind. You getting your tubes tied when we get this one out. We're gonna deal with this. We're going to get past this moment. We're not having no more 3. It's going to be enough. God said, no, you're a 4-child man. I'm like, no, I just want 3. I really was satisfied with 1. But God said, no, you getting them. And next thing I know, my wife went to her doctor appointment. She came back and she told my mother. And my mother met me at the door when I was walking in the house. She said, you a praying man? I said, yeah, I'm a praying man. You know that. She said, well, you ain't praying too hard. I said, what are you talking about? She said, you need to go in there and talk to your wife. She said, you ain't going to find it as good news, but she got some great news to tell you. I went in there. I said, babe, what mama talking about? And my wife with a smile on her face. Because my wife, when she pregnant, she had this glow about her. And she looked at, and I said, man, this woman is shining, and she's feeling good. She loved being pregnant. And she was telling me, she said, baby, we finna have a baby. I said, I know that, but we finna have 2. We got twins coming. I said, girl, stop it. First off, I told you when she first told me about the pregnancy, I wasn't happy. Then she's going to tell me we got 2 coming. God knows, God is my witness right today. From the day she said that, I denied it till them children came. I said, you ain't got 2. I said, I'm going to start praying. And mama said, it's too late now. You should have been doing that before she conceived. Now they're yours. You got to ask God to help you to take care of them. But I was so busy trying to get one that I forgot to pray that God increase my income, get me prepared for two babies. I kept staying in the season of denial. I denied my process going forward because I said, this is not what I'm going. I refused my desire. I started telling God what I wanted. I started being like David. This ain't happening to me. Next thing I know, I'm sitting in the operating room and the doctor's getting ready to do the C-section because the kids was at distress and they were coming. They were breaching. One was coming head first and the other was trying to come back first, and they was in the way and they were blocking each other's path, and they was in there almost like Esau and Jacob trying to come, and one said, nope, you can't go, I'm going first. Nope, you can. Matter of fact, I just blocked the entrance. That's the baby girl. She said, I just blocked the entrance. Well, you can't get there. But she was supposed to have been the oldest, but she ended up being the younger one. Why? Because she thought she'd be smart too and just block the entrance. And then the other one said, well, I'm going to push right on. And she was pushing against my wife's chest and everything, trying to come, all that pain my wife was in. And the doctor said, we got to do a C-section. We got to get him out. I'm going to show you how out of season I was. I accepted in the process of going that I'm going to have one, and I'm going to accept that. I started making my desires align up with one. But my desires wasn't lining up with my seasons. And when the first one, when he did the C-section, he got the first one out. I said, okay, doctor, you can go ahead and close it up. He said, he laughed. He said, Mr. Gordon, man, you denied this all the way up to the front. When I told you I had to hear 2 heartbeats, you told me it was one, the baby and your wife heartbeat. And I told you, no, there's 2 baby heartbeats that I'm hearing. And you got another one on the way. The doctor began to search. He said, I can't find the other one right now. And he was looking. He had his hand. I said, you might as well take your hand out of there. She ain't having but the one. I'm telling you, I'm a man of God. And he knew I was a man of God. He said, he laughed, he chuckled. He said, Mr. Gordon, you funny. He said, you're a man of God. He said, I'm a man of God too. He said, but there's 2 babies in here, whether you want to accept that or not. And I'm not sewing up the other baby for them to die in your wife. You got to let the other one come. It's coming whether you like it or not. I kept on. He got kind of frantic. He got all the way up to his elbow trying to find that baby. And he reached down and he did his hand. He said, oh, I feel something. I said, oh, no, you don't. You're going to be pull out my wife's heart or something. He said, no, this is it. And he got it. He came out with a smile on his face. He said, see, I know I was right. And he got that baby out of there, and that girl started crying. I said, oh, Lord. He said, I told you there was 2 all this time. Are you going to accept it now? I can do nothing but accept that I had 2 babies. And I said, Lord, you aligned me up to my season. Had I been praying the right prayer, I'd have been prepared for them. I'd have made provisions for them. But I was so much just preparing for one. And God says, not only do you got to buy 1 set of Pampers, you got to buy 2 sets of Pampers. You got to buy 1 set of milk. You got to buy 2 sets of milk. The next thing I know, them babies they were preemie babies. But God blessed them. I started aligning my season, my desires up with my season. I said, God, I no longer desire just one. I desire both. And I need you to protect them and help them to survive this moment. They was in that incubator thing, and you had to reach your hands in. You had to put on gloves and all of this stuff to be able to touch them and everything. And they had to stay in the hospital like that. And I used to stick a tube down their throat, and they were teaching me how to feed them. And I would put the tube in their mouth, and I would squeeze the milk through the tube to go down into their belly to fill them up. They never knew their taste buds wasn't even active. And I began to pray, God, let their taste buds taste the milk that's going into their belly. And after a while, it took months. It wasn't easy. We used to have to, we would go home. We went home. Yeah, they had about that much milk, and they would fill them up. I could hold one in this hand, and I could hold the other one in this hand. And I would sit there with both of my babies looking at them. And I was like, man, they little. Their fingers were so little and pink. And I was like, wow, are they going to even survive? And I started lining my desires up. And I said, God, I don't want desires that having one. I need two babies now. I desire two. Matter of fact, I desire to take care of them. I don't know what it's going to take financially. I may be crippled financially, but I need these babies. I started liking them then. I started looking at their hair, and I started holding them. I started looking at them, trying to see who was who and what have you. We named them, and man, I'm excited about being a daddy of twins. And my brother Aaron, you know, he had twin boys, and I said, boy, I got twin girls. Me and your life is just intertwined. We just sticking together, man. We're just doing things the right way. I said, but you thought we was going to have 3 kids each, but now I got 4. I said, now you got 1 more to go. I done mine. I got it, but I was getting excited, but I started aligning with my season. So much so that my daughter stopped drinking milk out of a tube and a needle-like thing, pumping the food in them, that they start crying for milk. And I buy 45 for Alicia, 45 for Felicia, and boy, they would go through that milk like it wasn't nothing. I had to buy not just 20, 30 Pampers. I had to go down to that thing where they were selling 100 Pampers at a time, because they would go through them Pampers. I wasn't even scared about them buying all of that. I was just excited that now they're living. Because you know what? When you align your desires up with your season, you stop trying to find a way to accept. A man that's got a whole bunch but never learned how to live is a man that ain't living. Don't make sense to have all that you got and you ain't got nobody to leave it to. He said a man that got $1 million and he can't leave it to nobody, somebody else going to use, that was a waste of life. Why are you going to waste your life saving up everything you got and never enjoy nothing because you're so busy trying to have so that you can show people what you got in your bank account, but you never go in there and get nothing? Go in there. Man, I used to go to lunch when I was at work. Everybody be going out to eat for lunch, and they go get the hamburgers and the fries at the nice places and everything. You know what I'll be looking for? I'll be looking for all the places that got a sale. And I would go in there, they be spending $10 for their lunch. I go in there and I try to spend $2. I said, I got $2. I want to buy my whole lunch with $2. That's something to drink, something sweet, something to eat. I want to do it all for $2. And I look for all the specials. When I get through getting this over here for $1, this over here for $1, next thing I know, I done spent $5. But I'm not real happy with what I got. I'm just making do. But if I was living in my season, I went on and took the other 5 and got something that I really enjoyed and didn't mind. And I spent $5 that I hated that I spent it because it wasn't what I wanted. Because it wasn't aligned up. I'm closing. He went on to say, 7 and 9, up in that part of it, he said, for all the labor of a man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not filled. Here, this passage contains 3 proverbs. In it, it makes the transition from a major discussion of wealth to the proverb that teach an appetite is a thing that drives us. It's our desires. A man is not drawn away by the other people entice, but he's drawn away of his own lust and entice. What I'm trying to show you here is that the Bible is getting you a punch in the gut and saying that your desires is the very thing that drives you away from God rather than bring you to God, because your desires just want what your desires want, but never think of the consequences of what they're going to cause. You're in need of a car, but you go buy you a bicycle. I saw a man the other day walk in the store, and he bought a bike. I didn't even know bikes got up this high. He got a bicycle. To me, it was a bicycle. It rolled with the pedals on it. It had a nice looking chain and stuff. Now, but I mean, the bike looked good, but the bike cost $10,000. I said, ain't no way I'm going to go buy me a bike for $10,000. I said, that's just a waste of my money. But then God said if he got it to spend, he could spend it. I started looking at things a little different. I started saying, oh, okay, I wouldn't buy a $10,000 bike because it's not my season to buy a $10,000 bike. But if God done blessed me and I got $20 million in the bank, and I look and I say, you know what, I need to exercise. I'm not going to go to Walmart and get a bike for $89, and I have to suffer to pedal and everything. But a $10,000 bike, he said, man, this bike ride different. He said, man, I can get on this bike and I can ride in a marathon. He said, matter of fact, I'm giving it to my son because that's what he do. He get in the marathon, and he need to have a bike that can take the pressure and go up the terrain and come down. And I said, just to be in a marathon race, that's a waste. But what I didn't realize that some people do that for a living. I said, it's his season to get a $10,000 bike. And his daddy got it for him. He said, I just wanted to do this for my son. It wouldn't make sense to hold on to it and say, boy, I desire to get you a bike for $10,000, and I got the money in the bank, but I'm not going to get it. That's a waste of telling anybody anything. That's a waste of breath to even tell him that you would get it, but you ain't going to get it because you don't want to spend the money. The Bible said that is a pitiful wretch, because that's not worth having it if you're not going to enjoy it. You got to learn to enjoy what God got you in, your season. Be content in your season and wait for your season of plenty to come. And when it comes, enjoy it. Don't think that God ain't looking, that another season of drought is going to come. You're going to be ready for the drought. You ain't got to save up for a drought. I said, I got you. When the drought comes, recession comes, Bishop Jake said something to me, and I served under Bishop Jake for a while, and I love his ministry. I don't know why so many people got a problem with him, but I love his ministry, and when he teaches with wisdom and understanding of life. And he made a statement when he was preaching one day, and it really resonated with me. It stuck with me because sometimes we don't understand what God is trying to do in our life. But we tend to put limitations on what God is doing for us. So when God goes to give us something, we put our desires in the way of his giving. Ooh, let me break this down. Let me break this down, because this got to be broke down. If I go to my wife and I say, baby, one day I'm going to get you a Rolls Royce. And she said, I don't need no Rolls Royce. I said, I know you don't need it, but I'm going to get it for you. No, I'll be happy with a Volkswagen or Audi. I just want an Audi. That's all I want. I don't need the Rolls Royce. I said, well, baby, that's what I want to give you. She keep arguing me, no, I don't need all that. I just need an Audi. That's all I want is an Audi. That's enough for me. That's my dream car is an Audi. I said, but an Audi ain't going to have the value of the Rolls Royce. Now, the thing of it is, if I give her the Rolls Royce, she can do whatever she want to do with it. What we tend to do is we belittle the blessing that God is putting in our life to get what we think we desire, and our desires are not aligning with the season that God wants to put us in. What I'm trying to say is she could take the Rolls Royce, put it on the market, and sell it, and get enough money from the Rolls Royce to buy her 3 Audis, and then a closet full of clothes, and then a closet full of shoes, and then, because an Audi is not going to be equivalent to what a Rolls Royce, but if I give a Rolls Royce season, she can take that season and she can stretch that season to wait and hold her till she get to the next season. Y'all better hear this one. God saying, I'm trying to give y'all something. Woo, y'all around here, y'all are blessed. My church is blessed. I'm going to say it on Facebook. My church is blessed. You want to be blessed? Come to God's Commission Church, 9221 LBJ Freeway, Suite 209 in Dallas, Texas, and you will be blessed. They give, they tithe, they give, they offering, they bless the church, and God in turn bless them. They get their paycheck, and it'll be more money than they think they're supposed to get, and they just have to accept the money because God is just blessing like that. What I'm trying to tell you is, if you want God to bless you, learn to live in the season God got you in. Quit trying to live where your friends at. Man, when I bought that watermelon, it was already cut up. It was about 5 slices. And I paid like $3 for it. And that's a lot for a few slices of watermelon. And I said, well, it looked good. I smelled it through the package. I said, ooh, it smells like a good watermelon in here. See, what the enemy will do, he will trick you to say your desires, it's time for you to put it in effect. And God's saying, nope, don't do that. That's not your time. It's not your season for that. Leave that alone. So what we do is we tend to focus our blessings on a process that is not where God wants us to be, but we want to be there so bad that we defy God and we walk into a season that's not ready. You ever walked into a home being built? I do it all the time. When I walk into a home and it's got sheetrock on the wall, but they ain't painted it yet, and they ain't got the countertops on and everything. They ain't got the floors laid, and it's just concrete down there. Boy, it's a mess in there. You have to walk over nails and stuff and not hurt yourself. It's not good to live in. But when they get it ready and the painter says it's all finished and they done put the last bit of caulking around the house and everything, you can walk in it and it's beautiful. When you walk in a finished house, you can see all the glory in it. But if you walked in it while it was being built, it ain't worth it. If you walk in a house and try to live in a house before it's built out of season, you ain't going to be comfortable. The electric don't even come on. The water don't come on. The house got odors in it. I don't care how much Febreze you put in there, it's not going to be worth it because it's out of season. You can buy a $300,000 house before it's built and it ain't worth for nothing. You can buy a $300,000, $400,000 house and they ain't even did the foundation yet. It ain't nothing. That's just money spent. But when you go out there and you start seeing foundation being tilted, when you start seeing that they done broke up the foul ground, see, because you can't put a $300,000, $400,000 house on a ground that ain't been tilted, that ain't been broken up. Whine and sing a song, break up the foul low ground, meaning that go get those rocks that's up under there that's going to make it uneven. Get any distraction, anything that don't belong, Lord, tilt it out. See, when you put God in it in season, you tilt the ground and the ground is now ready. You can't plant seed on a rocky ground because some seeds will fall on the rock and it'll come out and burn it up. Some seeds will fall amongst the thick and the thorns. So when it come out, the thorns will choke it out. But you got to tilt the ground so when the seed comes, it's got a season to live in. Some of y'all ain't tilting nothing in your life. Ain't some of you just letting life just roll. And God said that's a pitiful shame. God said, I put you here to be blessed. I put you here to have. I put you here to have plenty. I put you here to enjoy. I put you here to have good time. I put you here to have a great time. See, what you got to understand, the Bible said it's not even beneficial for you to be so spiritual, you know earthly good. Bible says you got to learn to live on earth before you learn to live in heaven. You got to learn to do it. Oh, I better close. This is a good message. This is a wonderful message. He said we're driven by the appetites. Our appetite keeps us wanting more. Our appetite keeps us desiring to have, and when we don't even know how to use what we got. I'm going to say this and I'm closed. I remember My kids look in the ice box, and they look in the cupboard, and they come to me and say, Daddy, we hungry. I said, go get something to eat in the kitchen. He said, your mama be cooking after a while. Go get something. There ain't nothing up there. I said, ain't nothing up there. It's empty. It ain't nothing up there to eat. So I go up there and I open the ice box, and I see lunch meat in the ice box. I see hot dogs in the ice box. I see all these different type of things, eggs and different things in the ice box. And they say, oh, that ain't what we want, though. I look in the cupboard, and boxes of cereal in the ice box, and there's cookies in the cookie jar, and there's snack cakes, because their mama used to make sure they had snacks whenever they wanted. But it ain't the snacks they wanted. It ain't the food they wanted to eat, so they say there ain't nothing there. See, it's not good. It's not good for man to have desires and don't know what to do with it. It's not good to have something in your life that's a benefit, but you don't know what to do with what God's given you. So I had to teach my kids to align their desires up with the season. Right now, mama ain't cooked. It might not be what you want in there, but eat a per Sam sandwich. It might not be what you want. Fix you a bologna sandwich. It might not be what you want. Eat a couple of cookies and go sit down somewhere. Get a bag of those small chips your mama gave you. Eat them till she get home and fix your dinner. But don't come telling me I ain't did my part and I ain't gave you what you want. It ain't nothing in there because you can't find what you desire at this moment. What I'm trying to tell you is stop telling God it ain't nothing in your life of benefit. God done blessed you with so much, but you too busy telling God it ain't nothing in my life to make me happy, so I'm sad. I'm depressed right now. Why are you depressed when you got children? Why are you depressed when you got a roof over your head? Why are you depressed when your cupboard is full? Why are you depressed when they got food, giving it away at pantries, and all you got to do? I went to a food bank, a church was giving away steaks, and they were giving away as many as you could take home. They were giving food away. Why be depressed in a life season that God has blessed America so that nobody should be depressed and not enjoying life? We should all be enjoying life right now. We should all be having a good time. God says there's going to be a time he's going to open up the windows of heaven and he's just going to pour out blessings. And God said there's going to be a time that I'm going to close the window and man's going to have to learn to survive on his own. If you're in your survival mode, be happy in that season. Survive till you get to plenty, till you get to your next season. Thank God. I want to pray with you because I don't want to just keep going, but I could because there's a lot to even unwrap in these scriptures. Ecclesiastes, you would never think that there's a word in there for you, but there's a word in Ecclesiastes that could help you through your process. Solomon was a man of wisdom. Solomon is credit to being the preacher. I've been studying the word a long time, and just when I got this message that I realized that Solomon, he had to be a preacher. They said Ecclesiastes is the preacher, or the preacher. He did his thing, and I want to be able to share with you. I want to pray with you. Father God, we touch and agree with every believer, every non-believer, all those that listen to us on the Faith to Life Network, all of those that are listening to us on Facebook, all of us that are watching us on YouTube, whatever way that they get in this, Lord. Lord, we ask that you touch right now. Touch their life. Touch their understanding. Touch their desires. Align their desires up with the season that you have them in, that their season don't be wasted, that their life don't be wasted, that their process don't be wasted. But, Lord, bless them to be blessed above abundance. Lord, bless them to understand that they're blessed even when they don't think that they're blessed. They're blessed even if they don't feel that they're blessed. Lord, let them experience a joyful life and let them know they got peace of mind as long as they're lined up with you, that they can have all that they need. In Jesus' name, I want to thank you for joining us today. If you want to be a blessing to this ministry, you can go to Venmo. That's the app, Venmo, and you can sow into the Venmo app. You can type in @GC Church, @GCCHURCH, at GCCHURCH, and you can be a blessing to this ministry of any type. I should have let the announcer do what the announcer do and stayed in my season, but I try to help you be a blessing to this ministry. But you can go to the Venmo app and you can type in the @ GCCHURCH and be a blessing to God's Commission Church. You be blessed and you have a wonderful day. And thank you for joining us.